5:30, so we'll call to order this meeting for Monday, February 1st. Carl, can you start us off with a roll call, please?
Councilmember Renly,
Present.
Ronayne,
Present.
Lunsman,
Present.
Reif,
Present.
Johnson,
Present.
Reinbold,
Present.
Langer,
Present.
Rux,
Present.
Mayor Shoneman.
Present. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America.
We'll start with the approval of the agenda. I do have one official proclamation I'd like to add to this week's agenda, if that's all right. I'd take a motion to add that proclamation and then approve the agenda otherwise as is.
Move to approve with that addendum.
Second.
The motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Rux. Carl, could you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Renly,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. We'll start off with that proclamation. Last April, I had the opportunity to take part of a send-off for a 4-year-old boy named Parker Syrie. He was battling AML leukemia and was headed to Sioux Falls for chemo treatment therapy. This last week, his aunt reached out wondering if I could create this proclamation for him, hoping that it would raise his spirits on his 5th birthday, which is day after tomorrow. Sadly, he didn't make it to his birthday, but I've seen many people from around the community offering sympathy, financial contributions, and prayers to the young family who's really struggling, as you can imagine. So I'm hoping that we can all take a moment this Wednesday and reflect on this poor child, his family, and everyone battling cancer in our lives, especially the young people. So the proclamation reads as such. Whereas Parker Syrie was born in Aberdeen, South Dakota on February 3rd, 2016, gained his angel wings on January 31st, 2021. Whereas Parker's parents, Ashley and Toby Syrie, and brothers are Cole and Gavin. Whereas Parker Syrie was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia on March 2020. Whereas despite Parker's cancer diagnosis and ongoing treatments, he loved cars, his brothers, monster trucks, and where Parker Syrie would have celebrated his 5th birthday on February 3rd, 2021, in honor of this special child, Aberdeen, South Dakota will celebrate the courageous and inspirational life of our very own little superhero, Parker Syrie. And now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Travis Shoneman, Mayor of the City of Aberdeen, South Dakota, do hereby proclaim February 3rd, 2021 as Parker Strong Day. On this day, the Aberdeen community will celebrate the life of Parker Syrie and keep his family and friends in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you. We will move along to the approval of minutes from last week's meeting, January 25th. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes, please?
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Councilman Lunsman and a second from Councilman Reif. Carl, would you give me a roll call approving those minutes?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got our open forum. We've got a guest speaker here today by the name of Warren Heights, here to speak about streets. Warren, find your way up to the podium and make sure that that microphone is on. Sometimes it's not right off the bat.
Okay. Hi, my name is Warren Heights. I live up on 8th Avenue Northeast, to where the project is going to be going this next summer, hopefully. And I was curious if it's going to also include working on the sidewalks besides the street, as the sidewalks are getting at the expansion joints. They're getting, some of the slabs are going down and some are coming up, and it's getting to be about ½ inch or maybe even larger for people to have to walk over. And I've seen myself several people actually trip on them, and I did see one person fall down. Of course, you fall down, you quick look around and see if anybody saw you, you know. But it is kind of bad. As also now we get some more snow and the snow melt and the water is standing on the wider sidewalk for the bike trail, and the water stands right there, and then of course it freezes and gets kind of slippery. So just curious if that's going to be in the project also, to work on the sidewalks also, where they have to raise them or replace, or what they have to do. So I don't know how old the street is now, but it has to be at least 10 years old since it was redone. And after the first year, it had started to heave already, the sidewalk had. And I had seen a person fall down there, an older gentleman. And so I called the city and I told them, you know, what I had seen, that it's tough. So they sent a couple people up there and they ground, you know, where it was sticking up, they ground it all down. And along there now you can see several places where they did. And also on the curb, it wouldn't drain off of the sidewalk, so they put they cut, you know, V into the curb so the water would drain off. Well, that was how many years ago? And you can see that was just a Band-Aid then. Now it's getting worse. So I'm just curious of, you know, with the project, if that's going to include looking at the sidewalks, if they need to be repaired or whatever. So.
Sure. Well, Warren, I want you to, first of all, thanks for coming to the meeting and expressing your interest in that topic. We do our best to try to avoid this turning into a big back and forth type of discussion, but if you could give us your contact information. I was thinking perhaps at the end of this meeting, we'll be talking with Robin and a few other issues as it relates to streetworks and so forth, and we can bring this topic up and make sure that we've got a good answer to you. Okay. But if you would just jot down maybe your email on one of those sheets on the back, I'd be happy to follow up with you. Absolutely. With the email to link to the discussion that we'll have afterwards and so forth. I just don't want it to kind of create too much of a discussion here right at this point in the meeting here. But
I understand.
Safety
Thank you
is
guys for your time. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Warren. With that, we'll move along to our consent calendar. We've got possible approval of 3 items, several or each of which have subcategory listings. I'm sure that you've all had a chance to review each of those things. I take a motion to approve the consent calendar items.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reinbold and a second from Councilman Rux. Any questions or comments on any of those? Carl, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Oh, we've lost him.
Ronayne,
Aye.
very good. Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. We'll move along to our old business. We've got the second reading of ordinance 210101 to rezone property described as Lot 6, Block 15, Sullivan and Easton's addition. Last week was our first reading. There was, it passed without reservation. Brett, any changes or additions to
No
this?
changes from last week, Mayor.
The city still recommends approval.
That's correct.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Councilman Reif and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Carl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye. Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Rob, like the enthusiasm. Move along to our new business. First, we've got a hearing on the transfer of retail on-sale liquor and package off-sale liquor licenses for Teton Development LLC at 901 6th Avenue Southeast, Suite 100 to 205 6th Avenue Southeast, Suite 101. Possible approval of this transfer.
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Remley. Does anyone have any statement to make on this Otherwise, Carl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne, Lunsman,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the appointment of Hope Kramer to the Business Improvement District 2 Board. Possible approval to appoint Hope Kramer to the Business District Board. And we've all seen the application as well as the glowing review from the Convention and Visitors Bureau that was included in our packet. Can I get a motion to make that appointment?
So moved. Second.
A motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Does anyone have anything to state about that? Otherwise, Carl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye. And could I have an aye on the last one too, Carl?
I read your lips, thank you. Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got proposals for the water treatment plant 2021 chlorine on-site generation improvements. Possible approval for the proposal submitted by H.R. Green of Sioux Falls in the amount of $90,000. And Bob Braun is here to tell us all about that.
Yes, this is the proposal for the engineering part of the segment where part of our facility plan was to increase or change out our chlorine system from chlorine ton tanks to a self-generating, fairly safe gas at the plant. So this will be the engineering project for that for about $90,000.
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Reinbold. Does anyone have any questions for Bob? All right. Good presentation. Carl, would you give me a roll call vote?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the request to purchase a John Deere 3046R compact tractor for the Public Works Department from RDO Equipment Company. Possible approval to make that purchase in the amount of $44,423.31 and using Sourcewell contracting process. And Robin, what can you tell us about that tractor?
This is for the traffic control division. We send out 2 people during storms, during and kind of the cleanup afterwards to do things around a number of our different buildings, police, city hall. We do the overpass, we do a number of traffic signals. These are fairly heavily used when we need them, okay? The one is getting tired. We'd like to put it to a less strenuous use, give it to the Parks and Rec division, let them put it to use. We're recommending this particular unit because it will be compatible with all the attachments we already have in our possession. So, you know, in the long run, it's cheaper for us to go this route. They've been very durable units for us. We're recommending approval of this particular bid.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Lunsman. How old is the one that will be replaced?
It's a good question. I did not look that up. It's, I'd say 7 years old, somewhere in there.
Any other questions for Robin on this deal? And why don't we take this vote and then, I mean, because I think the nature of the length of your response and that guy's questions, maybe we could just address that really
Sure,
quick.
that's fine.
So, Carl, would you give me a roll call vote on this, this purchase?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. We had a member, I'm sure that you heard it, of the community show up at the beginning wondering about a segment of 8th Avenue sidewalks. I understand that a majority of the sidewalks in this community are the responsibility of the residents that live in the homes that are attached to those lots. What is the situation? But occasionally the city does replace lengths of sidewalk along with these street repair projects.
The area in front of Mr. Heights' house is a bike path. So there would be a slightly different twist to this. Property owners are responsible for general upkeep. We do typically take care of, at least in some regard, parts of the bike path, and that's a Parks and Rec program. This project did not contemplate doing anything beyond the roadway surface. We're trying to improve the ride itself for the traffic on 8th Avenue. So we did not have anything programmed in for doing improvements to the bike path. It's something I certainly can have our folks look at, visit with Parks and Rec, and see what things may be needed out there, and visit with Mr. Wagger about the city's responsibilities versus the homeowners. It is a very good point, Mayor, that a lot of these are the property owner's responsibilities. City may have taken some steps to make some improvements. I don't know what our legal responsibility is, and that's something I think Mr. Wagger will want to weigh in on.
Where in particular was the sidewalk considered a bike path on 8th Avenue?
It's on the north side of 8th Avenue, all the way from Main Street, probably 2nd Street, all the way to the west to about High Street, or east to High Street. Mr. Heights is going to be in that area around Congress, somewhere east of Congress, I think.
Sure. Okay, well, I'll pass them along this information.
I have a question.
Oh, Clint, what
So
have you got?
who would have cut notches into the curb?
I'm not sure what happened there.
You know,
This is all news to me, so.
Yeah, and I can see, you know, grinding, because I see that, you know, where they'll go and they'll grind some ridges down to smooth them out or whatever, but to cut notches in a curb almost seems,
It may have been right at a joint where they were trying to just get the water to trickle through that may have been trapped, but I don't know. It's a good question.
Thank you very much, Robin.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is to authorize the city manager to sign the 5310 grant paperwork to transfer grant from People's Transit of Huron to the Aberdeen Ride Line for the purchase of a 2002 Ford Champion bus for the amount of $800, and to authorize the payment of $800 to the People's Transit upon receipt of the grant paperwork for South Dakota Department of Transportation. Possible approval to make that authorization and that sign that paperwork. Make the transfer. Can I get a motion?
so moved.
Second.
A motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Johnson. So I would imagine somebody has got some questions on this one.
I see Tom there. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Tom, why don't you tell us all about that?
Well, just as it states there, basically we're looking at transferring a bus that has a grant through South Dakota DOT from Huron Transit to Aberdeen Ride Line. The amount that we're having to pay, that $800, is 20% of the current value of the bus of $4,000.
What's the purpose of the bus, Tom?
Just we've got some buses that have had some major repair issues, and we haven't got new ones in stock yet. So we're gonna pick this one up, and then we're looking at some other possible uses for it right now.
Okay. I'll move to approve.
Nope.
I don't know, we already did that.
Sorry, I went out of order on that one. I got thrown off with the sidewalk questions. Sorry about that, guys. Does anyone else have any questions? Councilman Johnson.
Based on the odometer reading, Tom, how long would you anticipate keeping this in the fleet?
That's a good question. You know, the state uses what's called a state of good repair for judging when vehicles are going to be outdated, I guess. By their standards, this actually, based on the age of the vehicle, is actually already out of state of good repair, but they don't dictate when we have to get rid of vehicles. So it's always up to the agency to determine how long they're going to keep it. So a lot of it will depend on how fast we can get other buses in stock to take its place, and if the use comes about that we're looking at for it.
Yeah, I noticed the odometer reading was only about an average of about 3,500 miles per year based on age. So,
Right.
hopefully it gets some good use from it.
Yeah, that's the reason we were interested in it to begin with. It's got extremely low miles. This does have one of the 7.3 diesel Ford engines, which is one of the best engines that Ford made. So our mechanic was excited to see it.
Great.
So Tom, compared to the other buses that the city runs through Rideline, is 24 passengers high or low, or is that roughly what the rest of these have got for capacity?
That actually is a higher capacity bus than a lot of the buses that we run.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else have anything else on this one? Carl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we'll have the review and
Mr.
approval.
Mayor, can I have a question or bring something up that just came into us today?
Oh, sure, please. Mr. Wanty, what have you got?
We had a TSA security directive come into play today. It goes into effect at midnight tonight. It is going to require anybody riding Rideline to be required to wear a mask. So that is something that just came about today. So starting tomorrow, anybody not wearing a mask will not be allowed to ride on Rideline. It's coming from the federal government.
Thank you very much. Do you know that? Josh, what have you got?
Tom, will you have masks available for people if they don't have one?
We do have some available. It's preferred, obviously, that everybody bring their own mask. I don't have enough to, last a long time. And I don't know how fast I can get more masks in. This being going into effect nationwide could affect the flow of masks for a while. So,
Joe, do we have
I have a
excess
solution
masks?
for that.
We have a few. Okay.
I have a solution for that.
how's that?
The nuns at Presentation College have been making masks furiously for the last several months. I'm sure they've got plenty of masks. I'm sure they donate them to Rideline.
Okay,
So I will make a call to my sister and see that you get those masks.
sounds good. Thanks, Mark.
You bet.
Thanks, Tom, and thank you, Councilman Remley. We'll move along here to the review and approval of the claims and payroll. We've got bills, the approval of the bill list for February 1st, as well as the payroll, which is the pay period from January 17th to the 30th, and for the city's share of Social Security, old age, and survivors insurance, retirement, health, and life insurance. Can I get a motion to pay those two items?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Carl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor Shonneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the city manager's report. Mr. Guy, tell us what you got.
Just one kind of fun thing that we're going to start doing a little different. In December, I read through the 45 names of employees who met a 5-year milestone throughout 2020, and I mentioned at that point in time kind of a little bit of foreshadowing that we're going to do that a little bit different this year. And so we have started that. What we're doing is when an employee meets that milestone, their department head and I go out and meet with them and present their certificate. So far, because it's new, we were able to surprise everyone. Some of these were done in department heads' offices. Others were done in the field. One of them was out at the water plant while a street employee was moving some lime around. Another one was at the street shop. They were very surprised to see Robin and I stroll in there. And it involves some fun stories about when I started and what it was like and why I wanted to work here and who else started on the same day as me. So we're looking forward to those discussions. And then at around the first meeting the next month, we'll read those names. So that's what I'm going to do, our January milestones. Actually, we had 3 employees who all hit the 15-year mark. So that was kind of interesting. 2 of them did start on the same day. One of them remembered that. The other one did after we told him. And so the first one was Chad Nilsson in the fire department, our fire marshal. He did start out in the building department and moved down there a few years ago. And then Aaron Keese started as the forester, both on the same day, January 17th, 2006. And then Alan Kahn started in the street department on the 30th of January in 2006. So three long-term dedicated employees, and we thank them for the service, and we'll continue this each month. And that's all I have today.
Thank you to those employees, and thank you, Joe. So with that, I will take a motion to move this meeting. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Josh.
Joe, I was thinking through this fleet process and some of the funds we've received through COVID to improve the fleet. I'm wondering if we could maybe wrap one or more vehicles in kind of a tribute to our frontline workers. I've seen wraps around town. If that would be something we could do. And in thinking about that process, I know we received one through a grant process. I don't know if that would be what better way to do that than maybe the one we received through a grant.
Yeah, we'll check with Chief McNeil. They have done some special wraps on some of their vehicles, and one of those is going to be a K9 unit, the grant. So we'll check on that. But yeah, there's some opportunities for that.
Great. Just thought I'd bring it up. I'm not sure what the cost of that is or what the process is, but
very good.
Thank you, Josh. Anyone else have anything before we move this meeting to executive session?
Real quick, I think that's a really good idea to put an advertisement out there. I don't think anybody else has done something quite like this in the state that I'm aware of. I know they do wraps, but not necessarily for frontline workers. One way to use our COVID money. It's not a bad idea.
That's kind of something to do at least, and you kind of bring up a good point. Maybe we get things that are kind of temporary and we do different things. And I know Tom in Transit has wanted to do some of that for his buses. So we've got some options.
Good suggestion. Gentlemen? All right, with that, I will take a motion to leave this general session and move into executive session to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to South Dakota Codified Law 125-2-1.
Move to move into executive session.
Second.
The motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Johnson. Carl, would you give us a roll call vote?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne,
aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. We'll move to executive session. We'll take a little bit of time here to clear the room with the people that don't need to be part of this meeting, and thank you all very much.
See ya.